Coming up on Mountain News this morning, millions were threatened yesterday as a massive and powerful storm system swept across the eastern United States. And this morning, we will share with you a scary situation for a Floyd County couple. Plus, animal rights activists and supporters gathered for a vigil at the Santa Anita racetrack yesterday. We have more details on that.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News this morning on April the 15th. It's a Monday and it's going to be a chilly one. So if everybody was hoping for the 80s that we saw last week, you're going to have to hold your breath a little bit longer because we're back into some chilly temps this morning. Brandon's here and he's going to give you a better breakdown of what to expect. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning, Will. And we're looking at, again, as you mentioned, some cooler temperatures. But here's the thing. You won't have to wait too long for those 80s. They'll be back by the middle of the week. Let's take a look at what's going on this morning at the Whitesburg camera over at the Southeast Kentucky Community Technical College. There we go. Thank you for that, Mr. Director. We're looking at a beautiful start to the morning there, but it is chilly as you head out the door this morning. Now back to Live Pinpoint Doppler radar as we scan the skies, and you can see a little bit of moisture trying to show up out there. Don't know if all that's reaching the ground this morning, but we are keeping a close eye on that. Take a little closer look. You can see some blues and pinks mixing in, but again, ground temperature's not buying that because we're still in the upper 30s and low 40s in all locations this morning. So again, colder up in the atmosphere, but not quite there at the ground. So normal day on the coffee meter with the temperatures a little extra just because it is Monday. Heating forecast over the next couple of days. You might have to crank the heat back on, as Will mentioned today. Otherwise, though, crank the AC back up because we're close to 80 again by Thursday. The full forecast is on the way here in just a few minutes. Will?
We're all going to be sick as dogs by the end of the week, Brandon. Thank you. Millions were threatened yesterday as a massive and powerful storm system rumbled into the east. It's left a wide swath of destruction and death across the south. At least 6 people have been killed over the weekend by violent storms, including more than a dozen suspected tornadoes. Maria Villarreal has more from Alto, Texas.
The strength and unpredictability of this one storm system can be measured in the destruction it left behind. Dozens of homes in Hamilton, Mississippi completely flattened, and yet this closet was spared with clothes still hanging inside. At least 11 tornadoes touched down in 3 different states.
It happened so quick, I didn't have time to get scared until it was over.
Roger Ann Gray was at home in Franklin, Texas with her 4 grandsons when one ripped through their small city. They survived by hiding in this hallway.
My front porch, the awning out over that house to the front porch, is in my neighbor's yard.
The worst of these storms hit Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas Saturday. In Angelina County, 2 children were killed when a tree hit their car. At the height of the storm, more than 100,000 people were without power. A tornado also touched down in Alto, Texas, population 1,200. Cecil Morgan has lived here most of his life. Morgan stayed home with his family to ride out the storm, thinking they were just in for heavy rain and high winds.
When you guys were huddled in this corner here, what are you telling your grandkids especially?
Man, we're just praying. We didn't tell them nothing.
By daylight, crews were on scene cleaning up debris, assessing the damage, and providing help to those in need.
You've lived here for 30 years. What are you going to do now?
I got to start over. That's all I could do. I'll do something.
More than half the town was affected by this tornado, and now 200 people are displaced. Volunteers and law enforcement I've spoken with today tell me it is a miracle that everyone survived, including the Morgan family. Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, Alto, Texas.
Well, a 13-year-old boy, let's go back to the Texas hail. With severe thunderstorms, you typically get hail, but not quite like this. Check it out. These are star-shaped hailstones. We typically think of hail as perfectly round, but that's actually rarely the case. This particular hail shape you are seeing is caused by strong winds within the storm, as well as changes in temperature. And just like no 2 snowflakes are alike, no 2 hailstones are alike. Now the story I tried to skip to. A 13-year-old boy drowned in floodwaters from the weekend storm. Officials say the boy drowned in a drainage area in western Monroe, Louisiana. In Troy, Alabama, at least one tornado was reported Sunday morning. Storms later threatened major cities, including Washington, D.C. and New York. The National Weather Service says they forecast damaging winds, torrential downpours, and large hail. And some bad news for people trying to fly out of the area yesterday. Lots of flights were delayed. Here is video of high winds outside the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Georgia. People there were also under a tornado watch yesterday. Flights out of Bluegrass Airport in Lexington were delayed. And for those flying out of the Tri-Cities airports, flights heading to Atlanta and Orlando were running behind. Our own Steve Hensley is heading to Florida, and he was delayed, I want to say, close to 7 hours yesterday, but he finally made it to Florida safe and sound. We'll hear about it, I'm sure, when he gets back. And a scary experience for some people staying at Cumberland Lake State Resort Park in Russell County. Here is a picture of the damage. A tree came crashing down on a cabin there. 6 people were inside. According to park officials, they all made it out on their own with only minor injuries. And in Hazard, a tree fell on a power line near a house on Little Boulevard. No one was hurt and there was no damage to any nearby homes. The tree fell around 2 yesterday afternoon. If you have any trees down or other damage in your area, you can send us a picture on our WYMT Facebook page as long as everything is safe and okay to do so. Well, a scary situation for a Floyd County couple. On Friday, while stopped at a gas station in Harold, a woman begged for help, claiming she was kidnapped by a man in Martin. However, police say it's simply not true. WYMT's Marianne Fletcher talked with the duo about the scary experience.
A fun Friday spent at Hillbilly Days ended in worry for Chandra and Drew Halbert.
I've honestly never been so scared in my life. Never seen somebody so scared in my life. It was awful.
Chandra says it started when she and her husband stopped at a Double Quick gas station in Harold.
And as soon as we start slowing down, this woman hops out and she's looking at us and she comes running.
Drew slightly rolls down his window to talk to her.
And she starts beating on the window, please help me, help me, help me, help me. He's kidnapped me, please help me.
Chandra says she knew she needed to help this woman.
You could tell that she was messed up, but she knew enough that she needed help.
While Drew talked to the woman, Chandra dialed 911. Soon, Kentucky State Police pulled into the parking lot.
He hops out of the vehicle and I walk around the vehicle and she comes running to me and I catch her and she starts screaming and crying.
Police find the man inside the gas station, but this is when the story takes an unexpected turn.
It's like something you see in the movies, like honestly, yeah.
Kentucky State Police troopers say the woman fabricated the story.
I've never seen somebody so scared in my life. She was shaking so bad.
Leaving Drew and Chandra in shock.
Now I'm terrified to do anything by myself without Drew.
In Floyd County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, we do not know the identity of the man or woman involved. Kentucky State Police say no one was arrested. Laurel County deputies arrested a driver who crashed into another car while under the influence Saturday afternoon. It happened off West Cumberland Gap Parkway, about 10 miles south of London. Deputies say Jason Coffey rear-ended another car, injuring 2 people inside. A woman who was a passenger in Coffey's car was taken to the hospital. Deputies charged Coffey with DUI along with other charges. Switching gears now, in western Kentucky, a former high school fishing coach pleaded not guilty to charges of sex abuse and child pornography. John Parks appeared in court Thursday. He is the former McCracken County High School fishing coach. A 15-year-old student reported the allegations back in February. Well, animal rights activists and supporters gathered for a vigil at the Santa Anita racetrack yesterday. It was meant to remember the 23 horses that died there since December. Protesters plan to call on Governor Newsom and Senator Dianne Feinstein to ban horse racing. Since the most recent death in March, there's now more regulation on medications and more veterinarians who have been called in to monitor horses during training sessions. At least 2 people have been killed and 5 others injured after a small plane crashed into a parked helicopter during takeoff at the only airport in Nepal's Everest region. The plane skidded off the runway, hitting the helicopter of Managing Air. Both are private airline companies that cater to tourists and Nepalese in the country's remote areas. A giant 6-engine aircraft with the world's longest wingspan completed what company officials called a superb initial flight over California's Mojave Desert on Saturday. The plane lifted off from the Mojave Air and Spaceport early in the morning and climbed into the desert sky 70 miles north of L.A. The jet flew 2.5 hours, achieving a maximum speed of 189 miles per hour. The test flight brought to life a dream held by the late Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen.
Well, it's been a dreary start to the day. Cloud cover, a few scattered showers this morning. You can see that there on the satellite and radar composite over the last 6 hours. And again, not all of that is reaching the ground. I think we're seeing some reports. I did get a report from Jeremiah over in Letcher County just a couple of minutes ago of some rain coming down there. I appreciate that report on Twitter. But again, I don't think all of that is reaching the ground this morning. Temperatures, if you're seeing that blue and pink, still way too warm for that, in the upper 30s and low 40s across the entire region, across the state. Some low 30s out toward Paducah, but the closer you get to the east, the warmer the temperatures. Out the door forecast, we are going to see again temperatures climb into the 50s later today. Some stray showers and clouds this morning, giving way to some sunshine by later on this afternoon. Will?
All righty, Brandon, chilly day for sure. Well, thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Today marks the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. We will tell you about the thing curators hope will shine a light on the anniversary. And we'll show you how a drone and special software could be changing how law enforcement respond to any scene.